Welcome back to Comical Opinions. This is a review of Robotech Rick Hunter #3 from Titan Comics. But before we get started, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Your support is very much appreciated. We'd love to keep doing these reviews for you. So whatever support you can provide would be greatly appreciated, and we want to keep doing more. So before we get started, let's get into the credits. Robotech Rick Hunter #3 is written by Brandon Easton, art by Simone Ragazonni, colors by Brian Valenza, letters by Anvil Designs Jamie or Hame, and cover art is by Koi Carrion. First impressions of the issue. It was fine. A little bit slow. I'll be honest with you, a little bit dull, but just overall, it was fine. If you're looking for big action and big excitement, you get a little bit in the beginning of the issue, but as the story progresses, there's lots of talking, lots of reminiscing type talking, not as much exposition, but overall, it's just a very dialogue heavy issue. And if you're sort of not very deep into Robotech lore, especially the first iteration of Robotech from the original series and the original the Japanese anime and manga, then you might get into it, but maybe not. It sort of depends on how much you like the deep lore of the story in favor of lots of action and plot development. So if you remember where we left off, and it's been a while, this issue has been on a hiatus for, at this point, 3.5 months since the previous issue came out. And what happened? Rick Hunter and his squad, the Pegasus squad, were heading to the Australia sector with very loose and I should say very poor support from Anatoly and the Army of the Southern Cross. And on their way down to find out where the Zentradi blip was coming from in the southern regions of the hemisphere, they're ambushed by a Zentradi attack force led by Zeral, who is a sort of zealot acolyte of the Zentradi. And in the course of that fight, Pegasus 2, driven by Randall, was supposedly destroyed. So where are we now? And how are we picking up? The fight continues. This time, Rick Hunter gets into direct contact and a direct Macross fight with the Zentradi leader, Zeral. That fight reveals some information about how the Zeral are using cloaking technologies to avoid detection. But the fight ends basically in a stalemate, even though Rick sort of resolves himself to be lethal and to kill Zeral if he needs to put an end to the war, because he's very Rick Hunter is very built up about the frustration of war that just never seems to end. However, he never gets the chance. The fight ends in a stalemate, and Zeral escapes, at least for the time being anyway. What happens after that? Well, they find out that Pegasus 2 wasn't destroyed and that Randall survived, but barely. So he's badly injured. The Pegasus 2 is destroyed, and they make it back to a base where they can rest and recover, receive medical attention. And Rick comes to the conclusion that there's no way his squad can find out what the Zentradi are doing and stop them without better support. And what Randall offers to do is to call Anatoly directly and effectively blackmail Anatoly for his secret past relationships with the Zentradi that he doesn't want anybody to know about, because his entire platform of leadership and support is built on xenophobia against the Zentradi and making sure that the two races never interact, or basically keep them separated in whatever means possible, even if it means by military force. Over the course of the latter half of the comic, basically all you're doing is going over discussions about past relationships, past likes and dislikes, and they spend a lot of time talking about Rick's relationship, sort of love triangle relationship between himself, Lisa, and Min May. And so that's the part where it tends to drag a little bit. But we'll get into that in the what we didn't like section. So what did we like? The art looks great by Simone Ragazonni. The story kind of keeps things moving if you want to kind of get into what's going on with Zeral and where he's getting his support from and what his intentions are. You do find out a little bit about what he's planning to do and why he's so interested in the Australia region, and by extension, he's more interested in Antarctica. And you find out a little bit about his plan there, which is great. So there is some plot progress. You do get an understanding of the relationships if you're into that sort of thing, and you do get some good news about Pegasus 2 and Randall. So what's not so great? Yeah, once you get past the action and the battle from the first third of the comic, the conversation just kind of drags the whole thing to a crawl. It's sort of interesting to find out what's going on with Anatoly's past. It's sort of interesting to find out what Zaral's up to as far as what he has planned for Earth, but it just takes a very slow, leisurely stroll to get there. And if you're looking for uh, fast-paced action, if you're looking for plot and developments that wow you and grab you, unfortunately, you just don't get in this comic. Brandon Easton, I don't know how many issues he has on this particular volume to kind of tell the story he wants to tell, but he's meandering to get there, which for a lot of people probably is not going to fly, especially for a war-centric, action-based story of this sort. He's taking a really long time getting to the point and making things happen, which unfortunately is a down point. So what about the art? As you can see from some of the preview pages, if you're watching this on YouTube, the art looks great. The battles are very dramatically presented. The the designs for the ships and the mechs look fantastic, and there's a lot of um, energetic pacing that's happening through the art. So, hats off to Simone for doing a great job on the art. And if you're looking for just cool visuals to kind of keep you invested in the Robotech world, this is a great start. Final comments. This is Robotech. Robotech Rick Hunter #3 is a pretty okay comic if you're really deep into the lore and don't mind just a little bit of action. But for readers who want more action in their war comic, especially with big mechs doing all kinds of crazy things and cool things, and you want a little bit more pep in the pacing, you're going to struggle. So, unfortunately, for that one, therefore, we're going to give this title, Robotech Rick Hunter #3, we're going to give this a 6.5 out of 10. We hope you enjoyed this review. But before you leave, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and let us know how we're doing. This is Gabe Hernandez, your publisher in EIC for Comical Opinions, signing off.